might like my story, but can't read in Appalachians. I
Okay.
posted this as a reply to an Ask Reddit question. I was told you guys might enjoy it, so enjoy reading about one of the most nerve-wracking experiences of my life. A few years back, my girlfriend and I.
Please get these men into custody now. Please, please, please. Get out of my house. Can anyone watching this hear them? And I know there's some people out there. Out there watching this.
Is definitely one of the more remote and less traveled parts of the trail, which is exactly what we're looking for. We gathered our gear and made our way to the start of the Virginia Creeper Trail to begin our journey. We planned our journey to end at Damascus and figured that by the time we got there, we would be more than right to get home to our own beds. It was early October, changing of the leaves and colors were amazing. The air was crisp and cool, perfect hiking weather with beautiful scenery. The majority of the trip was pretty uneventful, just a hike, but our last couple of nights is where things got weird. On this portion of the trail, we were supposed to camp on the trail or a designated shelter. We didn't really want to run into other people. We didn't want anyone coming up on us in the middle of the night. We decided to ignore those suggestions and find our own little spot on the trail. A little searching around and we found a spot a little ways off the trail in the middle of a small clearing. It was perfect. We set up camp, cooked some food, talked for a while, and snuggled up and went to sleep for the night. Somewhere around 2 a.m. I was woken by my girlfriend shaking me awake, telling me, "Get your gun. Somebody's outside walking around the tent." She informed me that she woke up to the sound like someone right outside the tent running a knife or something along the side while circling us. When hiking, I carried 1911 and judge with me. You never know exactly who or what you might run into when on such a long hike in a remote location. I got the judge out of my pack, and we sat silently listening for any sounds. A few minutes of nothing, but the breeze blowing through the trees, and then I heard it. Snap. Crunch.
Well, that's one of the naked goat gallons of like
Or something walking.
for when I realized it's
I got
out.
the flashlight and sat illuminating my way out of the tent.
They found a satanic cult and there was a naked goat man in another car. That's what's gonna happen next year as far as this, whatever this is, as to say the least. I mean, like it was there in person, there was no reason for it. It was naked man with a goat mask on, I think they were sleeping. Scared the hell out of it, and his girlfriend probably was, close to being murdered by a satanic cult or something. You need to catch you need to catch these men and get them away from anyone else. I'm sure their parents are calling the police, and I'm thinking they have for sure acted on what they're talking about enough. And if you're arguing, I don't know you, and
take off to the woods. There's no way I could chase, so I returned to the campsite. I told my girlfriend about what happened, and I ended up sitting guard outside the tent in the darkness until daybreak. In the morning, I looked around for signs of flu or whatever it was, and I discovered a boot and some soft moist dirt not far from the tent. It wasn't mine, and it wasn't my girl's. This freaked me out as it confirmed that someone.
In the 1800s, the Appalachian Mountains thundered with a clash of picks and drills as mines cut into ancient rock, chasing gold and gemstones. Yet long before men swung their tools, water had already carved passages through stone, forming cavern systems that stretched for miles underground. Some fueled America's mining boom before being abandoned when the oil was gone. Others were left untouched, their purpose still uncertain.
The Gooch Hall, it was living on his Gooch Halls. It was like really graphic stories about living parks and like garbage like it was like about living parks. Every so often was they do that with everything on there. They every group has shot the most expensive things possible and It's like the worst body parts upside down. Really, yeah, like you're not allowed to, I'm saying these words. All of them, a lot. Worst kind of class clothes I've ever, never had whatsoever. What does that think?
You don't think childhood feels so good? You
It is the weirdest thing
It was
ever.
exactly as safe as the adults around you said it was. Except it wasn't. The candy wasn't safe. The toys weren't safe. And your favorite movies weren't as innocent as you remember. Today, we've taken some of our most uncomfortable childhood lists and brought them together for one very eye-opening trip down memory lane. I'm Mike with List 25, and these are 100 disturbing facts about your childhood. That magical scene where Dorothy wakes up in the poppy field surrounded by falling snow.
On August 7, 2008, Turkish media reported that the residents of Adirna, near the Bulgarian border, said they spent the last 10 days disturbed by the sightings of what can be best described as a flying man, seen moving from roof to roof at the heights of human events. Multiple witnesses over a 2-week period recorded seeing the anomalous figure, moving in a manner impossible for those who personally witnessed the entity. Not only were they sure of its physical existence,
After
Somebody needs to help me.
In 1970, SeaWorld opened it.
Somebody needs to get these really creepy people into custody.
Great and lost and wrapped in charm, but behind this beauty lies something far more chilling. What makes Savannah so haunting? Is it the lives cut short by yellow fever? The restless souls wandering inside that historic inn? Or the forgotten graves beneath cemeteries? Some say it's just stories. Others believe it's something far more real. Tonight we explore the history and the mystery of haunted Savannah. In the heart of the hosted city sits a place unlike any other, Colonial Park Cemetery. Today is a peaceful resting place, shaded by oaks draped in Spanish moss.
Get off me with that thing.
This
My stalkers developed like an assault device that he can turn into a massage therapy device vest. And he needs to go to jail on this man that was stalking him. I said there was a man stalking me, and there was no doubt it was a stalker. It was the ghoul. It's like a schizophrenic carny from underneath a cemetery, and he trash dump and a trash dumpster and the crap. Like a really dirty, totally schizophrenic hobo stalking me. That was extremely dangerous, and his 3 friends, like all the time, were like creepy. I mean, they just didn't. They do stuff like this. It's a handicapped man that, and his friends that stalking him are absolutely legal. I reported it, and I very much have that going on. He had a heavy breathing app that it's probably this guy. It's the one that looks like somewhat handicapped. But I think it's a law enforcement person. I don't know what the other one. They don't know what to do about. It's a guy that looks deformed. I think. But then, if you please do look where it's at, oh gosh, I mean, it's probably something that looks. I can't imagine the again, there's no way you could. He's a baby to capture with all that because somewhere in Appalachia, he's not that. They're not that far back in Appalachia from that, and there's no such thing as a decent
There are
here.
no more activity. Recall any kind of discriminatory rate, whether you do a spot just relocating or just a trading that supposedly like Sherman's troops did, then you're going to get a lot more activity out there.
In the early 1800s, one clear blue lawn being very low line.
One last sentence was a common like state, so people could have been prematurely declared dead.
Some say that's why that ringer bell we used during the yellow fever epidemic, strings tied to a hand on the ground connected to a bell above.
Where are you that you do that on internet and cell phone account? You're allowed to. Why are you just allowed to stalk my cell phone and my internet account? It is really, really creepy.
And say about the bell was a term that actually originated from Boston. And the bell rings, like you say about the bell. But it's become such an urban legend that people think that is fact. The term wake actually comes from.
So about licking leaderboards,
Ways.
probably. He talks about like he's holding his penis out you so you can't fall asleep.
To make sure that they can wake up. So that's
Well, he does. I mean, you can't have a guys able to do this, much less like the police could maybe legally do something. It's just, if whatever technology you're using, how did you know that? It's a seance. I sort of knew there was a person stalking. I think. Actually, I don't think I did. Yeah. I mean, I remember thinking maybe there's somebody stalking, but like, I don't think I knew. Like, because this is stalking, really. I mean, there was definitely somebody stalking.
There's been several sightings of men who were Jewish out there, and I have not witnessed that, but I have witnessed shadows and apparitions.
There was guys that would stalk at like night, like it would be the middle of the night, and like you can talk both ways on the thing. Enough.
Others who have spent time inside the cemetery.
You could, I think. I've heard stuff like at 2 a.m. I remember, you can't sit there and like sit here all night kind of stuff. But yeah, because there was like doing something. Or during the day.
We're in the center of the cemetery.
No, and there was somebody stalking on it.
There's no kids right now. It's not living, so that
Random people.
The spirits forever bound to the cemetery.
Except it's the same random guys.
Darkest nights still echoing through time. The Columbia Park is the only place where Savannah's past still lingers. Just a few blocks away, another mystery.
It's incredibly creepy. I mean, it's a big, scary guy, and that's all like the conversation we had at 3 in the morning, which happened a reasonable amount. Just thinking here and there.
In Johnson Square, the
And it was like, there were all these dudes. What now? There's like a totally crazy man that said, favorite pornographer. I hated you. There's nothing I could do about it, but you couldn't touch me. No, it's not. It's never. It's always like absolutely psychotic. I was very worried it was gonna like hurt me or kill me or something. I mean, it was really psychotic. It was like maybe a gasket. It was still always. 3 o'clock in the morning, something's like breathing heavily into it. They always had. They didn't have something that was electrocuting. It was hideous though. It was the same guys. That's what he's referring to. I don't think he could as much. I think the cell phone had to be like turned on, and or like you could do it on your laptop. Maybe it was a little, probably just on the cell phone.
Every generation, locals have noticed something strange
The city where Spanish moss hangs heavy on every branch.
What is it doing now?
Uses to grow.
Skinning, raping, murdering, and setting people down well, inaudible noise, and now it's like a sex offender.
The Revolutionary War made
It's a brain tumor.
It's died just outside of Savannah.
It's just like the conversation in the picture, which you meant here.
Buried in Colonial Park Cemetery. During the Civil War, when Sherman troops desecrated graves, his remains vanished.
The remains of Nathaniel Green were later recovered in what's known as the Grand Vault, and they buried what was left of him and his remains.
It refers to, like, it'll talk about what you watched on the television. Yeah, it's just scary and creepy. You tell it no, and then just stop. That's the problem. Like, you can't stop anymore, and you have to, you like call the police or contact the authorities. And
Every day, hundreds pass through Johnson Square. Few notice what
the guy stalks like all the time. He stalks me all the time. It needs to be stopped. And I know there's a guy stalking me all the time, but this is what comes out of it, which is what I said. It's like,
Remains of Nathaniel Green, the Revolutionary War hero.
it's schizophrenic. It was always a white power, completely schizophrenic. The guy's really ridiculous. What's the guy? I think it was a ghost. It's a man stalking on my cell phone, and like that has different police technology that it uses to mirror your internet and cell phone account to like stalk you, which is really nasty. I mean, he's sort of hanging out on your stuff. It hangs out on your internet account and your cell phone. I mean, they might have given it to people to quickly check for mass shooters or something, because you're all supposed to be better than verified. But instead, you're sending a pretty weird
And that's
result in that. The weirdest that need to exist in
the spirits are still there, and they're not happy. But I've never had a negative spirit in Johnson Square, and I've never witnessed anything there. I have spirit box to the thing of dreams monument, but I've never captured anything, unfortunately. But you know, it's like fishing. If you enjoy doing it, you keep doing it, so eventually you get a bite or you catch something.
And it's pretty interesting to hear their take. I do know that a lot of people feel the presence of supernatural beings and have experienced some, abnormal occurrences specifically in this square. And it's kind of thought to be the spirit of General Nathaniel Green.
Sodium says airflow. Historians say coincidence, but on a still night when the air turns cold, maybe something else keeps the moss away.
I truly believe science has an answer for everything we experience on this earth. But that being said, I think it's definitely fun.
It was like Hogula. It was the Hogula character or something. Well, I mean, it's really schizophrenic. How schizophrenic are they now? It's very the actually just the non-stop stalking. If there was it's really crazy stalking. You can like whoever's talking or interacting on your cell phone on speakerphone, it's just like a guy on an audible noise on the phone.
And the secrets aren't just
Where it's like everywhere and it's not on the phone is unusual also. The old phone died relatively, I don't know,
City Hobby Fest.
recently. Yeah, compared to for sure. The last 3 years. Had that old phone that long? No. This has only been going on for like 8 years.
She's a little shy, might not say nothing, but don't watch this homework and gets respect. She stands up for herself. She stands up for me.
The bravest person I know is definitely my dad, 100%.
My friend shot.
My boy.
the secrets aren't just confined to squares. Next, we take you inside the Savannah Theater with history and mystery collide. The Savannah Theater has been entertaining audiences for more than 200 years, but some say the performers never really left. Tonight, we take you inside one of America's oldest theaters where history and the paranormal take center stage.
So dude, it was nasty. It was all like signal, like. So he remembers that night too. But like, yeah, a long time ago.
So it's been either still at least 70 almost 80 United States.
What I think makes it interesting is all the actors that come along and how old it is.
In its early years, the theater hosted some of the most
You have to be arrested right now for whatever you're doing. There's a crazy man. Still keeping.
And so they maintained so that theater was property of Hollywood.
But this grand theater journey hasn't always been so glamorous. Throughout its history, the Savannah Theater has burned down not once, but 3 times. In 1826, 1906, and 1958.
First fire was September of 1906, and with that fire, the actors died in the fire, and just a lot of support stuff that we didn't see on stage. Employees had a man called out backstage, was around the money there, and a lot of people were patrons who see their stage like that support photographs. The way to do it is in 1948, the fire happened, and it was just about the fire happened in the second floor.
She'll stalk me while I was talking about it.
Today it stands as a beautiful example of 1940s architectural design, restored.
They don't like stalk me. It's like these guys. I mean, they're really, really rough characters. Really schizophrenic. They don't stalk me up to Whole Foods or something. Up the street from my house in Cary. Very exciting.
Unexplained footsteps echoing backstage, chilling voices calling out the darkness.
You got an apparition, a white apparition, the stage about that support, disappears in the doorway, and that's the same area as in the stage.
And halfway through the counties was ones that are easy to find as far as the treasurer, the judge, the county clerk, the tax collector, the circuit clerk, and the assessor. So you can copy all these emails next week. Pretty easy. You can add some more to them. Next to their phone numbers. And we can.
Recommendations here. I had a couple moments when we did the work ourselves, and opened the theater late, one night, and I just kind of felt this it was weird to kind of feel like a cold feeling, and all the hair kind of stood up on the back of my neck, and then
They say like other people are fighting them too. Then like there's something. I mean,
and it was terrifying.
should have been able to like. That's what I actually thought was going on with various people. The only people that get involved in this have to be the people doing something that everybody else should do something too. They should arrest these men. As far as movies. Not that nice. I mean, I don't know. You have to arrest these guys. Somebody does. Somebody out of all the pile of people has to get these guys arrested. I was right. What you had to do is ethics where my evidence was created. And then everything else that came up there, it was pretty bad. Like I definitely called the police after that. I told them I was being small. And I added it to all of this. So I don't know if I have to read this on, because this has been like absolutely horrible. We need to figure out what technology they're using for this and see what I'm talking about. I think 18 months of the electrocution license here. They couldn't see you.
Today, after your first year here, registered in. Of course, I've been for 25 years, but I wanted to know what you think about our beautiful hotel for your first year.
Well, I think the history of this hotel
Horribly
is
evil
special, and it's what drew me here. What I've learned from you since I've been here, this is actually
Oh, you're right. Wow.
in 1798. The first 2 floors of this building were constructed of ballast stone.
As it's not, yeah.
Stones are made of fossilized coral, which is used to
They need to be arrested already.
their wares. One of my favorite features that I just talked about is that fireplace that doesn't have a flue. So the fireplace doesn't have a flue, but that's used to be
Very Celtic. Also ones that
the smoke from the fire.
but we have like at least 3 of those for every single
From pets.
dude.
Your perspective, what kind of a fellow was active? I
All of them
have
have
to
email.
say that down here at the Duke
Sensor.
is probably one of the most active areas.
Dirty for
We have the wine glasses street. We even have streaming to by across the way. You know, we have 2 spirits down here. One is a younger teenage girl, she's basically friends. The other person down here is an older gentleman who's actually bright. And the Gregory can have a sad story.
What does these say anything?
Drowned in the Savannah River, murdered. And covered up, and they actually brought him here and hung him up on one of these beams. The story of tells can actually be somewhat of a natural phosphor.
So that is what
Yes, paranormal
What?
investigators.
What on earth?
Similar story.
You do what now? You're allowed to do this anywhere else?
Here, you kind of have to
Jail.
There's something present there that stays in mind, whether that's an energy.
Where on earth?
I
Where on earth?
involved in some of the paranormal
Where's the law?
stuff
It's against the law. Like, I mean, I called the police so many times, I should have checked with them, right? My phone line's cut too, that's all I want to know about, I just can't believe it.
Paranormal society, they had the registered things, voices that they heard, footsteps that they heard, whispers, that kind of thing. So they got to investigate on the 5th floor, and also the second floor. On the second floor,
I should have been.
I actually was their psychic who said that there was a paranormal vortex down the building. I'm super excited that we're going to start posting some of our own weekly ghost stories so that folks can come and experience firsthand the history of America's most haunted city, which is Savannah. I've got my name called twice in the hotel. Every time I shoulder at the club, sitting in my office, I get knocks on the door, and I come up pretty quickly to get the door, and there's no one there. I remember working here years ago, there was a wedding party in the front lobby, and there was a little boy that was running around. Well, after the wedding party left, this little boy was there. And so the front desk agent got scared that somebody forgot their child. And so she ran out from front desk and she got back out into the lobby. He wasn't there.
From the whispers inside River Street and the echoes that still linger in the alleys beyond it, our journey continues along Savannah's riverfront. Next, we step into Factor's Walk, where history and hauntings collide, and the city's oldest stone still speak those words to the sun. Savannah's riverfront is known for its beauty, but beneath the rugged cobblestone streets lies one of the city's oldest and eeriest places. This is Factor's Walk. Once home to a bustling cotton trading oil merchants all over the South, it's also home to stories of tragedy, mystery, and spirits. And some will tell you, still walk these alleyways today.
Factor's Walk is an interesting area. The whole thing with all those old cotton houses, this walk is pretty much the old section of town.
It's here that Savannah's story began.
So the calls first night they were there. Over 40% of these tourists the first night you arrive. and walk right across the street from where down the river.
These cobblestone paths date back nearly 3 centuries. They were built by hand by enslaved people, workers who helped lay the foundation of the new colony.
After all, the British name was the mainly up the forest, slaves could have the world. You'll see a lot of old bridges, kind of like almost like a labyrinth of all these like bridges connecting things and factories wall. A lot of this ballast and labor is stored in the ships. They place these rocks on the bottom of the ships and balance out the cargo.
But behind the history are stories far more dark.
There are stories of Shanghai and the world forced to burn ships.
One story documented in the Georgia Encyclopedia tells the story of an 8-year-old boy named William Gold.
1976. An 8-year-old kid named William Gold was walking down the riverfront with his friend. And this lady was on the ship, realizing the captain. The captain points to William Gold and says, "I want you." She grabbed him and was moving aboard the ship. He didn't come back to Spanish for some stages. So the last thing he remembered thinking, as he was leaving the city, was seeing the White House in Taiwan. And in his 50s, he was sick. He had a cancer hospital, which would be a sailor's hospital. And during the last week of his life, he told the nurse about how he lived in Shanghai as a young boy. And later made a living throughout his career working on ships and working his way up. So that right there is a proof that the working enforcement is working on these ships. So we've got a lot of tragic history and knowledge.
From colonial landings to cotton wealth and captive souls lost at sea. That good war holds more than history. Some say it holds the spirits of those who never went back to all this. Extreme wrong. All of us want back to the wall, that's when you're back out. You get a feeling a lot of people are going under that you know yourself. Savannah, a city where history and mystery intertwine, where every stone and every shadow tells a story. Tonight we've uncovered legends, perhaps real stories that still echo through time. We want to thank some incredible locations for opening their doors and letting us step into Savannah's haunted past. For WJCO 22 News, I'm Greg Ford, wishing you a safe and spooky night.
To spirited evenings, raise the crochet.
Savannah, Georgia, a romantic southern city with close to 3 centuries of history. A story told in vivid detail in the city's sprawling historic district. Starting from the cobblestone riverfront and heading south, the moss draped squares give way to the sweeping vista of Forsyth Park and its charming fountain. Beyond lie turn-of-the-century mansions and charming Victorian homes. Many swear it's unlike any other place on earth.
This town has been a very important port for a couple of centuries, and its height during the years preceding and following the Civil War gave us a wonderful variety of architectural styles, different building materials, different architects working here. It's just a wonderful collection. Oh, we have everything from some colonial structures from the Georgian period, federal period, and then mostly women who are more romantic or Victorian styles, like the Italian age, the Second Empire, Romanesque, or you can start on any one of the major north-south streets, Patterson Street, Bold, Abercorn, and slowly rise you get styles and development.
Let's take a journey now through the jewels of this southern city's crown, its historic homes. Countless such structures dot Savannah's picturesque streets. Along our journey, we'll visit some of the most famous and important, and get glimpses of life in more than one bygone age. Savannah's historic homes certainly did not save themselves.
Hungry, preservation-minded citizens struggled for decades to keep them standing. The movement's earliest success was the Isaiah Davenport House, built in the early 1820s, but threatened with demolition by the mid-20th century.
Well, modern day story began in the 1950s. Savannah was not the beautiful tourist destination that it is today. The historic district was rather run down, and a number of buildings were apartment buildings, low-income housing, very well taken care of.
When the house was purchased by a nearby funeral home and it appeared destruction was imminent, 7 Savannah women pooled their resources, got the community behind them, and purchased the house for just over $20,000. The group they founded became the Historic Savannah Foundation, which has used a revolving fund to save countless historic structures over the years. Historic Savannah operates the Davenport as a house museum to tell the story of the man who built it and the family who lived inside.
Isaiah Davenport was a young master craftsman from New England. He became a master builder. One architectural historian has said that by the time Isaiah Davenport died in 1827, that every square had a house built by Isaiah Davenport. And he acquired the lot number 13 on Columbia Square. And eventually, after many years, he built this house, and it was around 1820. And we believe it was not only a home for his family and his household, but an advertisement for his builder skills.
Inside the house, visitors often comment on the striking wallpaper, which many people even find inappropriate. The house director, Jamie Craven, says the masonry patterned paper in the front hallway and the bold French drapery design in the front drawing room are historically accurate.
Where you see wallpaper in the house is where we found an indication of wallpaper paste. So that indicates to us that there was wallpaper on those walls originally.
Though only a fraction of original Davenport family heirlooms remain today, the house has been restocked from top to bottom with examples of the types of items the Davenports would have owned and used, based on an inventory of Isaiah Davenport's belongings drawn up at his death in 1827.
And though the family was well off as this house indicates, there were no portraits at the time and no miniatures. So what we do have are 3 silhouettes of 3 generations of Davenport women, all labeled 1828. We have one of Mrs. Sarah Davenport, age 40, 1 year after her husband died. Which indicates that she was literate and proud of it. Also, and we have is of her daughter, Cornelia Augusta Davenport, age 4 years, 1828, and she is the little girl who grew up in this house. In fact, we have a room that shows what we think her bedroom looked like as a 4-year-old. And in the master bedroom, we have an image of Susanna Clark, who is Sarah Davenport's mother, age 67, who we think lived in this house at the end of her life as well, and sitting in that very outside, uncomfortable room of furniture. It was probably a very cherished family artifact that has been passed down, and we have it now.
The Davenport House is more than just a collection of artifacts and buildings. It's a place where the past is brought to life with frequent programs hosted by costume interpreters in various times throughout the year.
People like to put themselves in the past and open themselves to it and how they like this. And the more I know about the 1820s, the more I read, the more grateful I am to be living in the town I live in. Running water, air conditioning, and a color that to work in. I think life is very difficult for the slaves who lived here, for the enslaved people who lived here, for the family. Cleanliness was difficult. If they even understood what we understand, I think work was very difficult. Childbearing. It was a difficult life that I don't think that any of us would want to choose to put ourselves back. And I'm real grateful that I have the opportunity to learn about that and to share that. That's the gist of the example, sharing with people and hopefully getting them to appreciate the Davenport House that one day.
Around the same time as the initial efforts to save the Davenport House got underway in the 1950s, another early 19th century home was opened to the public. While the Davenport House is beautiful but understated, at least on the outside, the Owens Thomas Mansion exudes wealth and power from every corner. The house was at first designed in Savannah by architect William J. Matching staircases wind their way up to a two-story front porch fronted by 4 towering columns. Inside the front door, visitors are greeted by a grand staircase with cast iron balustrades, leading up to the home's signature feature, a second-story bridge connecting the front and rear bedrooms.
Probably the overarching style thing is the balance and symmetry. And so really, you can find that throughout the house where you see, for example, on the back of the house, you see the window on the south side of the house, and then you have a blind window on the other side of the house. There are 3 false doors in the house that were installed to create this sense of balance and symmetry.
Regency is also characterized by unique roof shapes, demonstrated in the parlor of the Owens Thomas House. Though the roof is actually square, the ceiling is slightly domed. The effect is enhanced by plaster molding that looks like gathered fabric held together by golden brackets. But the mansion's largest room, the dining room, may be its most spectacular.
We have a Greek window which casts a vinegar shadow over the built-in sideboard. At this end of the room, the J designers room with a large curve, and that also extends to the use of the door, so the doors are curved as well.
In the family dining room downstairs, heat analysis and careful restoration have yielded an amazing result using a historically accurate glazing technique. This was transformed into this.
Yeah, it's an amazing transformation from this really kind of burnt orange color to this rosy effect, just with a little bit of white glaze. But it has a nice effect, and it's really beautiful. Makes this room very elegant.
But one of the Owens Thomas House's most interesting features is probably something we take for granted today.
So this is one of the first houses in America that had indoor plumbing. There were a number of systems throughout the house that fed 2 water closets with toilets, multiple sinks, at least 3 bathtubs, and 1, possibly 2 showers for the house. The largest system in the house was in the basement, and that held approximately 5,000 gallons of water.
The home's original owner, Richard Bridges, only lived here from 1819 to 1822, when financial difficulties forced him to sell the house. For a 6-year period that followed, a lady named Mary Maxwell operated the mansion as a boarding house. It was during this time that the Revolutionary War hero, the Marquis de Lafayette, stayed here during the cross-country tour. The aging general spoke to a huge crowd from this cast-iron balcony on the south side of the house. George Welshman Owens purchased the home in 1830 for $10,000, a fraction of the $50,000 that Richardson spent building it a decade earlier. And the house remained in his descendants' hands for the next 121 years. Owens' granddaughter, Margaret Thomas, bequeathed the mansion to the Telfair Academy of Arts and Sciences in 1951. And the Telfair opened the house to the public 3 years later.
It's crazy. He's come from, so the knife from the head shop, yeah, from the smoke shop. The knife from the smoke shop.
Fancy rooms for the home's wide owners and their
When I
guests.
bought it all like that, it's a horrible knife.
Modern day
It's
guests
fun
also
for
learn
that.
about the African American slaves who built and maintained this massive.
All right, all the
The Owens
the
Thomas
smoke
House basement
shop.
offers visitors a peek into the kitchen and laundry
I mean, I
spaces
love
where slaves
it.
do their daily work. And part of the building to the view of the garden is preserved as the South's only attached urban slave quarters.
Like,
The exhibit of slave tools and
when
crafts.
you're in the house, it's your mistake. When I found my EST drive, there's nobody in the house. It's actually really deep in there, like where the fucking handcuffs is. I think that's like a sharper one. It's like that too. If there's actually everybody in the house, I can get more of their certain peppers.
The Andrew Lowe House Gardens, completed in 1848, is the next stop in our story of Savannah's historic homes. Built for the city's wealthiest cotton merchant, this
I guess there's no reason to throw it away.
architect,
So I look over here. It's actually a pretty good walking stick. I look at it.
Cast iron porticos. A pair of cast iron lions guard the gate entrance. Lowe became a widower just prior to moving in, bringing two motherless daughters into the brand new home. 5 years later, he married to Mary
This is a good one.
William
This
married Julia Gordon, Scouts of the USA after his death. The home remained in the Lowe family until 1928.
This is not like a kid's walking stick. It's a nice walking stick, bro.
State of Georgia.
It's almost a case of having a look for everything else. If you are finding out otherwise, you just want to be as right as everything in the house.
Things wherever. I got those in my parents' moved. This one still looks like Japanese sticker on it. My parents been finding the collection on Drive. It's pretty though. It's homemade. I look at walking sticks online. Just as
Created by craftsmen such as Font, Meeks, Barry, Ellison, and Lonnie Way. In the front part
those things are speaking of it. I don't know. It's like a golf club.
Case features
Like,
elaborate
where it's
prints
get it by the
and
candle.
his screens are concealed behind the golden
Step
step
by thing. I think so. Really, yeah. It doesn't actually. I mean, it's supposed to do what now with that? The cops are not. They're supposed to take care of it.
Alice Daly is one of the city's volunteers.
Well, there's nobody in the house but me.
Proposed 4 decades.
There's a whole component of happiness about the house. It's like
Just very weird. It's true.
really
I found my USB and I'm down to something.
We've also incredibly fortunate that we have been able to assemble this collection of furniture that just reflects the era that the house originally must have had.
Daly's favorite room is the dining room.
Down to Perry County Arts.
Porcelain, fine
So
silver.
8.
Table settings display the American flag, period, and themes from American life. In the adjacent library, a painting of William Matthew Lowe, described his favorite horse, hangs above the mantel. 5 bedrooms and a bathroom occupy the second story of the home. 4 are furnished with massive mahogany beds and gray armoires, which provide storage space for clothing and linens in the days before closets. The children's bedroom features painted furniture and beds with small matted bug nets, as well as dolls and hobby horse played with by the Lowe children.
Along without us.
Lowe's most famous
Yeah.
suspects was Civil War General Robert E. Lee, who reported Mary Lowe's mother, Mary's uncle, Jack Mackey, at the National Military Academy at West Point. General Lee was godfather to Mary and Andrew Lowe's daughter, Jessie. The English author and lecturer William Makepeace Thackeray twice stayed with the Lowes during the 1850s, and the writing desk he used during his visits still stands in the room where he stayed.
And wrote a number of letters mentioning details about his stay here, that it was the most comfortable quarters he had occupied in the United States. So that tells you a little bit about how lovely this house was, and he wrote about the excellent table that his hosts set. So it's just little comments like that that help bring the house to life.
For its fancy furnishings, the beautiful architecture, the famous visitors, and the fascinating people who lived here, many deem the Andrew Lowe House one of their favorite historic Savannah homes.
Rich flavors expertly sourced for taste that's expertly crafted. The McCormick Gourmet Collection.
Everybody knows the place to find a place.
Please give the cops the rest of the
It's mattress roses July 4th sale. Save up to $700 on the Sweden Posturepedic plus free adjustable base.
I want to buy the condo next door
Mattress Row.
and build a door.
Another house designed by architect John Norris is next on our list, and it's one that played an important role in Savannah's history. The Green Meldrum House is one of the South's finest examples of Gothic Revival architecture, with cathedral-like features and vaulted windows that give it a story appearance. The house was built in 1853 for Charles Green, an Englishman who came to Savannah in the 1830s and amassed a fortune in business. It cost him $93,000 to complete the construction. The high-quality craftsmanship was obvious from the minute you step up to the front door.
The front of the Green Meldrum.
He says he like uses a sound blocker, and that's why the neighbors don't hear him screaming.
The house number is inside the second, the first set, which obviously tells you what means which came in off of Lincoln Street. These heavily studded doors were designed so that they could fold back and create small closets behind each door. The second set of doors in the house are the louver doors. The louver doors were used in the summertime, so that the air could filter in through the louvers and create airflow throughout the house.
I thought about buying those.
The third set of doors are the glass panel doors, which originally would have etched glass in them.
Are they in a bank?
These were used in the wintertime to allow the sunlight to filter through.
Well, I bought those when I was looking at those online when I was thinking about
Inside, the house is a simple
blocking out the
line
readers.
filtering in through the windows, including the unique narrow bay windows known as oriel windows on the building's east side.
Well, the Green Meldrum is so unique.
I have like 4 locks, but I like,
Every wall.
for some reason I left the stick rod locks. But I mean, I already had so much stuff in the car.
With the windows let in more than just
Just forgot I
light,
left them.
they're also part of an elaborate
Not the
ventilation
cases.
system, functioned as a
We
sort
were-
of
I didn't call here on time.
air conditioning.
One of the special characteristics of the house is that outside of the bay windows and the oriel windows, every window in the house has 2 sets of doors. You've got the
But like once you push underneath the door.
The louver door for the summer, which allows the circulation of air. And then in the wintertime, to allow all the beautiful light to filter into the house, you have the glass pane doors as well.
The air circulation is aided by one of the home's most unique features, an incredible dome on the second floor above the circular stairs.
Above us, we have the dome, which is an integral part of the air conditioning system throughout the house. If you start on the lower ring against the wall, you go to the last ring before you go to the actual dome itself.
Those things really get silly. See how you know, like why a dome? These places have been loaded or something, or it's like a public building.
Above the dome, a wooden pulley system with a rope that could pull up the top part of the dome. It could light.
He hangs dead people off the dome.
And that would
Plays himself, runs around in the story. Well, he does. Like he's,
Without a doubt, some of the home's most majestic spaces are
that's a
downstairs,
house.
starting with the entrance hall, which is adorned with elaborate crown moldings. The hanging consoles are made of a combination
The little
of
windows are tall. Television
a long double drawing room separated by intricate bars like pocket doors.
One way to
Hilton had South
down
Carolina.
based on need was by
It's right
using
outside.
mahogany pocket doors to
It's
close
a
off sections of the room.
It was outside the VA.
Home's most famous
Yeah, you
visit
could.
was the artist. During the last months of the Civil War, Union General William T. Sherman used Green's home as his residence and headquarters after his infamous march to
Well,
the
they just,
city.
they're building up by the VA.
Charles Green offered
At the end of Lincoln Street.
the house to General Sherman, and one of the reasons
Very nice
Sherman
up there.
took him up on it
And
was
they had some
because
affordable
the
stuff.
stable was attached to the house.
The one's right beside Alberton.
December 1864, February 1865. I think, first of all, Mr. Green wanted to save his artwork, his house. I mean, by that point, Sherman had.
We need a store, too.
That had done
Business.
so much
Like store.
during the state of Georgia on his march to the city. I think Mr. Green was thinking of his own property, and he was hoping to protect his assets that were sitting down on the river. Charles Green actually developed a relationship out of this. After the war, Sherman came back to the house once on the way to Florida. And then when he heard that Mr. Green was ill,
It rains, it rains,
to Savannah to see Mr. Green. So I think it's interesting, that the image would have sort of very developed some type of.
Said that right.
After Charles Green's death, the house passed to his son Edward, who fell on hard times. Judge Peter Melville
I was checking for bodies, I think.
1892 for less than half of its original cost, and it remained in his family until they sold it to St. John's Church in Savannah in 1943. That purchase was made with fundraising support from the broader community. Today, this magnificent mansion serves as the church's parish house, open on a regular schedule for tours guided by members of the Episcopal women, as well as others from the local community. For proof of the
Let's start really next to somebody said health nuts.
taking place in Savannah over the past few decades, you need look no further than the historic Sorrel Weed House on Madison Square, located on the corner of Bull and West Harris Streets. This stunning Greek Revival and Regency combination was designed by famed U.S. capital architect Charles Fusco in the late 1830s. Francis Sorrel built the home for his second wife and their 11 children. The home's most famous resident was Francis' son, Gilbert Moxley Sorrel, who at age 26 became the South's youngest general during the Civil War. Moxley Sorrel's patrons visited the house on 3 occasions. By the 1950s, this once grand mansion was completely boxed in by an ugly generic strip mall. Boutique stores were crammed into the basement and courtyard, and apartment dwellers occupied the top floors. The carriage house in the rear was completely swallowed and incorporated into the modern additions. In the 1990s, new owner Stephen Bader was determined to return the mansion to its former glory. He stripped away all the years of accumulated additions and uncovered architectural treasure. Today, visitors to the old Sorrel house can see the stunning plastic medallion on the ceiling in the front parlor, as well as a modern replacement created for the missing rear parlor medallion by a Savannah College of Art and Design professor. 16 original fireplaces remain in the home, including 8 carved from marble. Bader chipped away 12 layers of 20th century paint to uncover the sliding pocket doors between the 2 parlors. The intricately carved gilded cornices over the windows were discovered in a box.
Isn't that funny? What, of course, it's not funny, but just
Dining room boasts features of
the hell? Somebody needs to arrest this guy.
Regency
You don't know
homes.
what damages.
A curved wall balanced by 2 curved doors on each side. Each of the doors is made from a single piece of steamed wood, sliced in half so the door opens in the middle. But Bader made his most incredible architectural discovery in the first room visitors entered, the foyer. They removed the 20th century staircase. Bader found traces of original faux bois or Now visitors are encouraged to touch this rare example of the work of Savannah's the before and after
Just the architecture.
doesn't even look like the
What's
same
the
house,
Reed House?
located literally across the
There's
street.
interesting stuff, whatever this stuff like
The
this,
old
or
Sorrel Weed
whole
House
district like Palm Beach.
The Juliet Gordon Low birthplace is owned by the Girl Scouts of the USA and pays tribute to this founded in
It's grainy.
Juliet Gordon Low.
She's such a remarkable historical figure, not just in American history, not just in women's history, but in world history.
Well, actually, it's really cool.
It's really important that we
Juliet
preserve that memory.
But this mansion is noteworthy in its own right. The house was built in 1818 for James Moore Wayne, mayor of Savannah, later U.S. Supreme Court Justice. When Judge Wayne left for Washington, he sold the house to William Gordon I, the founder of the Central Georgia Railway and a leading Savannah citizen. 4 generations of Gordons lived here over the years.
In terms of our interpretation, we really are about this family, and particularly to Gordon Low. One of the things that distinguishes us, not just in Savannah, but from historic houses around the country, is that we have a huge documentary body of letters, diaries, materials. This was a family that kept all their letters. There are not many families in the United States history that there is so much original material about.
The Gordons' visitors were ushered into a grand parlor with striking detail worked into the walls.
It was a room we can tell was designed to impress your visitors. Remember, James Moore Wayne was the mayor. In building this house, house. It was for a person of importance to entertain other people of importance. That grand parlor does exactly what it's supposed to do. It gives you that rich, wonderful feeling of importance, of elegance.
I'm gonna buy a house next door. I doubt you can talk to her over there.
Other rooms in the house are
That's not
impressive as
just
well. Feels like
I
the
wanna
home is still
know
living.
why you're in this house and
We
it's
don't
absolutely.
have any one room in the house that was not with this family used by everybody. Generally, we did business from the library, but Nellie wrote, and said she wrote upwards of 80 to 100 letters a day some days after desk in that room. And that's the room where she sat and kept an eye on everything in Savannah. The desk was in the corner so she could look out in the garden and see what's going on. If the children in the garden, watch them. She could watch all the traffic on Old Fourth Avenue, which is the center of the city. They said she watched through the trolley and would go out with an alligator's whistle and blow on it. And they would stop and wait for General Gordon to finish his cup of coffee in the morning.
In the dining room, the table is always set for a feast.
The room should make you feel like you were either a family member or an invited guest, ready for a wonderful family meal, a wonderful gathering. It's small enough, the table, that though it's set with elegant furnishings, you know you're going to have great conversation and a fun time with your family.
Upstairs, the bedrooms are full of original Gordon family objects.
One of the first things people notice is that it's a big house. There's only 4 bedrooms. We're so accustomed to the idea of privacy, the idea that all the children might share one bedroom, for example, or that there would be multiple generations living in a house. It's a little bit, we have to stretch our brains back to watching Peter Pan and seeing all the children in the refrigerator or something like that to remember how rooms were used in the 19th century.
But for many visitors from around the world, the most important room in the entire house is the one where Juliet Gordon Lowe founded the Girl Scouts of the USA.
The very first teams were right in her mother's back parlor. Now, the chandeliers are so lovely in there. We know one of the little girls went home from one of these first teams and said, "Mom, Mrs. Gordon has chandeliers made of diamonds," which the price is not diamonds, but it's a great story. You can just imagine the hubbub of excitement with the little girls and older girls, 12-year-old, 13, 14-year-old girls, feeling like they were going to be able to take off in a spirit of leadership and independence and self-determination.
The Girl Scouts movement that began in this home in Savannah would reach millions of young women over the ensuing decades and is still growing today. Another of Savannah's historic house museums pays tribute to a determined and forward-thinking woman. The graceful old champion McAlpin mansion on Orleans Square was in disrepair after its first century of existence. Savannah visionary Alina Harper Phillips purchased the home in the 1930s, and today it bears her name.
She was an entrepreneur before her time. She wasn't fast. She had a rare form of tuberculosis when she was a child that resulted in one of her legs being shorter than the other, so she really didn't get around too well. But she was very strong, determined. She was frugal.
Try YIKES, a soft gum with a juicy experience. It's a vibe. You don't just buy a Scarab for the ride, you buy it for the thrill. And right now, we're making that thrill completely effortless. Buy any new Scarab and get the ultimate launch package. That's your first 6 services included, plus a 5-year warranty for total peace of mind. You gotta ride.
Yes!
Go see this.
The delicious egg.
She didn't inherit anyone or marry anyone, but she died alone. She actually bought this house as a single woman when she was 32, and she had boarders in the house during the war. And she married one of the boarders in the house. She was 42 when she married her.
Alina Phillips is known for selling antiques in Savannah over the years and for operating a famous famous tea house in the 18th century home, which is now the old Pink House restaurant. But her most lasting contribution may be this home and others she helped save in the surrounding neighborhood.
One thing that I do think is important about Alita also is that she was an early preservationist, and this neighborhood was derelict when she bought the house, and she set about restoring some of the houses in the neighborhood and other parts of the historic district and sold them for profit, which was kind of a new concept in the 1960s.
The Harper Folks House was built as a Greek revival mansion in 1842. The elaborate third floor with a mansard roof and copper fittings was added 50 years later, granting a Victorian flair to this classical home. Inside, the large double parlor boasts original mirrors and ornate gas chandeliers, known as gasoliners.
Just goes along with what kind of thing they told the leader that they couldn't be electrified, so she electrified them herself by hand. And when the current owners acquired the property, they had a professional electrifying.
Other interesting features are the curved staircase and the ovular openings between the floors, which aid in air circulation throughout the house.
Well, it really is quite great for Savannah. I think that we've got many different styles in Savannah, but this is the best Greek revival style, I believe, in this condition. The symmetry of it, and also the way that it departed from the Greek revival.
But without a doubt, this home's most incredible feature is the recently discovered faux bois, or false wood finish, found beneath multiple layers of paint in the dining room.
Which is just paint on the plaster to look like wood, to look like wood paneling. And I believe Alita lived here for 45 years and did not know that the faux bois existed in the dining room.
Today, the Harper Folks House is owned by the Society of the Cincinnati in Georgia, a patriotic organization composed of men descended from officers in George Washington's army. Mrs. Folks bequeathed the home to the group in 1985. On picturesque Lafayette Square is a house museum unlike any other in Savannah. The Flannery O'Connor Childhood Home honors yet another local lady, albeit one who left the city later in life.
Flannery O'Connor was one of the most important fiction writers of the 20th century, known mostly for her short stories. She was born in Savannah in 1925, and she died very young in 1964 of lupus.
O'Connor's collected short stories won a National Book Award after her death. The author's devout Catholic faith is reflected in her writing and in the presentation of objects in the Childhood Home Museum.
The house itself was built in 1856, but it has been restored over time, largely restored over time in Congress in the Depression era. It is one of the few, perhaps the only, we haven't quite figured this out yet, writer's home in America that specifically focuses on the writer's childhood. Also, it's interesting because you don't see many houses that are, you see houses of any type that are devoted to the Depression.
By the 1980s, the home had been broken up into several apartments. When the building went on the market, a group of local college professors purchased it and formed a nonprofit to operate the home as a museum. One of their biggest successes was a gift from famed movie director Jerry Bruckheimer and his wife, novelist Lynn Bruckheimer, to fund a library. Today, visitors can see many O'Connor family objects in the house.
A fair number of the pieces on the private level are original in the house. Almost everything on the second floor in the bedroom. Mary Flannery, she's called Mary Flannery. Mary Flannery's bedroom and her parents' bedroom, almost everything in the floor is original to the house. Almost everything else is appropriate to the period. One of the most important items we have is we have her stroller, as her initials on it, she would have taken on 10 and nothing. We have the twin beds that were in her room. She wasn't on a child, but there were 2 beds in there. So it quite a number of original items. Visitors here first get a real sense of what the childhood was like, one of the most important movies of the 20th century. But beyond that, visitors to the house really can see, not the wealthy and, not the, not the high society end of Savannah. This was a middle class Catholic family, doing the best they could to get through the Depression. You really get a sense here of how people actually live, how common people live in this house.
True to the spirit of its namesake, the Flannery O'Connor Childhood Home plays host to numerous readings, lectures, and other literary events throughout the year. Some of Savannah's historic homes are no longer homes at all. In fact, they're not house museums either. They're just museums. But you can still enjoy their former glory. The Scarborough House on Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard near Bay Street was built in 1819 for William Scarborough, one of Savannah's wealthiest merchants. It was designed by William J., the same architect responsible for the Owens Thomas House. Today, the mansion is home to the Ships of the Sea Maritime Museum, and its sumptuous rooms are graced with dozens of beautiful model ships and hundreds of rare nautical artifacts. The museum also boasts the largest garden in Savannah's historic district. Another William J. creation, the Stalker Mansion on Telfair Square, is home to the South's oldest art museum. It was built on Telfair in 1819.
Alexander Telfair's sisters lived here with him in the house. He was a single man. When he died, he left the house to his sisters, and finally his sister Mary Telfair was sole heir of the house, and she left the house to the Georgia Historical Society when she died in 1876. Like William J's design at the Owens Thomas House, you see its creativity also at the Telfair Mansion. Although the house has been altered a fair amount for the construction of the museum, a number of the rooms still exist as they did originally in the mansion. So the Octagon room is an example of the fish-shaped rooms that we find in those designs in Regency design architecture. In the dining room, again, like the dining room at the Owens Thomas House, one has a circular wall. So you see the
Today, many people trust this guy doesn't have more culture, because apparently, like, and then I mean, it's such a monster restaurant.
During their visits to the Owens Thomas House, which is also owned and operated by the
You have to be arrested at some point.
Our last historic house museum is a little bit off the beaten path. A cluster of unique historic residences are tucked away just a stone's throw from the beach outside Savannah.
There are three keepers on this, and one for the head or principal keeper, one for his assistant, first assistant keeper, and then a third will be second assistant keeper. He's the one man on the phone.
Here, generations of lighthouse keepers and their families made their homes over the years, guiding countless ships through the Channel Passage into the city's port. The fact that these homes are still standing is a tribute to their robust construction.
Think about it. Think about all the hard things.
Please get this monster into custody.
All of these buildings.
Would you get their massage therapy? That's what they were doing. There's nobody around them where they are. Please arrest these men. He says no legitimacy to the
buildings underwent a massive
Nazis throughout all of this.
that began in 1998 and didn't end until a decade later.
You must have been like in the jail. Get off of me with that thing. You go to prison for the rest of your life. Anybody who's gotten calls that there are, I'm not sure cops are that nice or that great, or if there's really anything that great about how we're arresting criminals. Anybody's gotten calls about a schizophrenic man doing something absolutely hideous that involves cell phone stalking, being able to actually touch your body. These are them. They're in Carroll County, Arkansas. Positive.
And on that sport back are physical evidence of the history of the building, the changes that took place, the codes that there was detail work that we used to look for the things that they replaced by Facebook. So it's an enormous undertaking, and that was very costly. probably the most important part of this work renovation.
Now, visitors are invited to step back in time and stroll gently through the home, imagining a vanished way of life from a bygone age.
We restored the people to pick a lifestyle of living and their families. That's a real opportunity. We so often get to experience what those living conditions were like for keepers in the families. But all of the buildings represent one of America's most complete life stations, and it's a great opportunity to come in and really see how important the action family units were in the operation of the big waves and navigation.
You will live at 924. Busy repairs, rentals, and dark spots, and that's all vintage.
You could be rough out there. When we're in here, smooth sailing. For decades, we brought you the very best for less. Your good tip, and the fan keeps growing. 2 stores, and what's new finds every day.
The radical left thinks if you work hard, have success, and love America, you're evil. Well, they're gonna hate me.
Although the Kaiser, the conservative self-made businessman, will stand with President Trump, take on the woke left, and keep America the freest place on earth.
I'm Glenda Kaiser, and I approve this message because I live the American dream, and I'm not gonna let a bunch of woke liberals destroy it.
Not all of Savannah's fabulous historic homes are house museums or private residences. In fact, you can even spend the night or enjoy a meal at a few of them, which have been converted into restaurants or inns. Without a doubt, the oldest is the old Peak House, an 18th century mansion on Reynolds Square. The building's peak exterior color, known as Jamaican peak, results from the red bricks below bleeding through the outer coating of clay. The house was built for prominent Savannah merchant and founding family member James Haversham Jr. In ensuing years, it served as a bank and was home to Alita Harper Folk's famous tea room in the 1930s. Today, the old Peak House is one of Savannah's best restaurants, offering fine dining, one-of-a-kind, elegant setting at an affordable price.
Everybody comes in for, like I said, the ambiance and just the atmosphere. It's fantastic. Everybody wants to do the class, the purple room, which is upstairs, or the pink rooms, or 2 guest rooms. People call from all over. And send emails for that. To ask for the plank rooms to the left rear of glasses and clubs, and also the famous rooms.
Other rooms have the feel of a snug English hunting lodge or invoke historic nautical themes. The restaurant recently completed a renovation that included the addition of a large covered banquet hall featuring finely detailed wall coverings and a new bar with arched openings onto the sidewall. A cozy tavern is tucked away beneath the older part of the house, offering a perfect spot to duck for a break during your visit to Savannah. Fast forward in time about 100 years for the next stop on our tour. The mansion on Forsyth Park is a flight of Victorian fancy, an 1880s red brick and terracotta structure in the Richardson Romanesque style, with wide arches and round towers climbing up to the sky. A 126-room boutique hotel has been added on to the original mansion, which is home to 700 drink restaurants.
Growing up in Savannah and living in Savannah, and I've been in and out of this building for many years, and I actually feel right around this building. But anytime I walk in the door and glance in the restaurant, especially at night, the low lights, the chandeliers, the beautiful colors, the orange, the blues, I just smile. And I think anybody that walks into the hotel feels the same way, or the restaurant. I think this hotel is just fabulous. So art collection is incredible. When people walk in the door, they are amazed at the colors as you see the beautiful orange, beautiful chandeliers, furnishings, just really very interesting decor.
Further south, in the midst of Savannah's Victorian district, Elizabeth on 37th has been a popular fine dining establishment since the early 1900s.
The houses are bigger, property, lots are bigger than ours. What we offer is a fine dining, southern elements, and so the house just adds to that. This is a great southern food. It's find it in another market. You could place it somewhere else. It's in this Florida house, and it's a real special experience. So this is the house. The 37th Street is dirt road. You can see tire traffic, probably car traffic every day. And this is the big oak trees that we have now, and it's in saplings here. And so the house looks essentially the same then as it was then. But you can see there's nothing else in any of the blocks around here. It's the first house in this.
Get off of it!
Isn't that
This is this monster in custody.
Family lived here. Probably the most interesting story of that was that a couple of years ago I had a woman came in and said that this great aunt was in a nursing home.
Gay for my great aunt.
And she sent her.
You're eating that fucking raw. How dare you? You're not allowed to interact with the prisoners like that. You should get angry and electrocute you. Get on my cross on Sunday.
The whole family, the brother, the military guard.
It screams on me.
Gosh, maybe 3 or 4.
Not make it if you're you have a, I don't know, this is crazy. We should ask them. Curves, get low. Cannery Street.
Though it's handsome art, I'm sure it's
Yeah,
really
you
easy
can
to want to spend the night. What really sets this house apart is the material of its construction. All the gates and doors on the outside, the raven, columns, brackets, and more, and many of the mantles within are made from cast iron. That iron is the creation of the man for whom the house was built, William Kehoe. He owned an important foundry in Savannah, and Kehoe's house was meant to be a showplace. Today, you can only shake your head in wonder at the fact that such a magnificent mansion could be built for just $25,000.
We have Hermione and large looks at a camera.
The Hamilton Turner Inn on Lafayette Square is a striking second empire mansion.
It was built in 1873 by Samuel Q. Hamilton as his private residence. He was married to his second wife, Sarah. He had a total of 6 children, 4 by the second wife.
He gave her
Total
great
6 people lived in the house.
He doesn't like, would you please get these tenants out of my house? They don't want to, and like, would somebody arrest these guys? There's guys actually doing this in Searcy County, Arkansas. Seriously. There's a guy talking about murdering children or something. It's actually murdering families. Like, there's just this guy that runs around with a goat mask naked in the house. For no reason, it's really awful. Please get to arrest him.
The Kehoe House.
There's a guy that piggybacks like completely runs his chair, his comfortable chair, on my internet and cell phone account.
Savannah's historic landmark district and the nearby environs are a treasure trove of architectural gems. The city's house museums range from the tiny Federalist lines of the Isaiah Davenport House to the grand Regency features of the Owens Thomas Mansion, from the finely furnished rooms of the Andrew Lowe House to the richly detailed Gothic trim of the Clayton Melbourne House, and from the stunning plastic medallions of the Sorel Weave to the Greek Revival and Second Empire marriage at the Harper Folks House. Here you can learn about the childhood of one of America's most important writers, visit the birthplace of the Girl Scouts of the USA, or walk in the footsteps of generations of families who kept the lights on for Savannah-bound ships over the years. You can find hidden rooms from the past tucked away in popular museums, and if you stay long enough, you can even eat or sleep in one-of-a-kind historic homes. It's all right here, inside Savannah's historic homes.
I'll see what I think. It's true. I mean, I'm not impressed because it's talking all the time using it. So now it has like massage therapy devices. Well, it's the massage therapy device. He's got the mix. Walgreens attached to it. It's absolutely hideous because to do that, he has to electrocute you. Your stalking is it's really evil. But it is technically whatever crime it is. So it's not leaving me alone. Or stalking me for piggybacking off my internet and something I was reading because it's a place you should hang out. It's really, really evil as to the technology they're on. Somebody needs to get it away from them. So we're not freaking away anymore, honestly.
If you think about a witch, chances are you pictured an old woman wearing a pointed hat, flying through the night on a broomstick, casting evil spells. But here's something many people misunderstand. A witch is not a creature. It's a title. Unlike my previous mythical family tree, where the oldest ancestors were supernatural beings like the Mesopotamian demons Lilitu and Lamashtu, the witch family tree is completely different. It doesn't begin with monsters. It begins with humans. For thousands of years, cultures around the world believe that certain people possess
For decades, Florida's Atlantic coastline was filled with oceanfront hotels, just like this one, built for road trips, family vacations, and affordable beach access. But many more resorts were designed for a tourism era that no longer exists.
New Orleans is known for its festive spirit, the revelry, the Mardi Gras, the spicy Cajun food, and the jazz music and laughter that spills out of the French Quarter on a nightly basis.
Jekyll Island belonged to 100 men, and those 100 men controlled a share of the world's wealth that no private club before or since has matched. The membership roll of the Jekyll Island Club, incorporated in 1886 on the Georgia Barrier Island, reachable only by boat, included the names Morgan, Rockefeller, Vanderbilt, Astor, Gould, Pulitzer, and Baker. Munsey's magazine called it the richest, the most exclusive, and the most inaccessible club in the world. But the island's most consequential season was not a social one. In November of 1910, a small party of financiers and one United States senator arrived on the cover of a duck hunting excursion and spent 10 days in the clubhouse drafting the legislation that would become the Federal Reserve System. They told no one. They used first names only. They would deny the meeting had occurred for more than 20 years. The island sits 7 miles off the Georgia coast, southeast of Brunswick, behind a maze of salt marsh and tidal creek that made it in the 19th century almost unreachable without a private vessel. It is one of the 4 Golden Isles, a chain of barrier islands stretching from the mouth of the Altamaha River to the St. Andrew Sound, and for most of its recorded history it belonged to a single family. Christophe Poulain de Vignon, a French aristocrat fleeing the Revolution, purchased the island in 1792 and established a cotton plantation. His descendants worked the land for nearly a century. By the 1870s, the plantation economy was dead, the soil was tired, and John Eugene du Vignon, the great-grandson, was looking for another use for an island that had become an expensive inheritance. Du Vignon found his answer in his brother-in-law, Newton Finney, who lived in New York and belonged to the Union Club, the oldest and most exclusive gentlemen's club in the city, whose membership included the men who ran the railroads.
Get off me with that thing. That's actually my body. Would you please get this man not using law enforcement technology to sexually assault me? I mean, although this appears to just be the same technology as that, you can't do it. Like, you can't do that. You can't do something with massage therapy devices.
Offered something altogether different.
What is it you're doing? You can't do any of it. You can't aim that there. It's not what that's for. I'm positive, unless it was developed as a medical device, and then there's never any aiming it there. You're doing gynecological exams, completely licensed and certified. And yeah, I guess the account will. I swear. So there's no, you'd be doing a gynecological exam, so you're using something for unauthorized use. And then you're using it as a sexual assault device, so that's always going to be a small. So you need to arrest these guys, please. Now. Because otherwise you're breaking the law. I don't. It's all stupid. So you even talk to stupid. I'm stuck with you and you're just calling the police. You appear to be schizophrenic trying to crack it.
Was the largest retailer in the country. Henry Hyde, founder of the Equitable Life Assurance Society. James Jerome Hill, the railroad builder whose Great Northern Railway ran from St. Paul to Seattle. On the 17th of February, 1886, Finney signed the purchase agreement, and Rubignon's family island became the property of Northern Capital for $125,000. The members selected Lloyd Aspinwall, a prominent New York attorney, as the club's first president, with Judge Henry Elias Howell as vice president, and they hired Charles Alexander of Chicago to design the clubhouse. Alexander's drawings, published in the January 1887 issue of American Architect and Building News, depicted a rambling Queen Anne structure with a signature corner turret, wraparound verandas, bay windows, extended chimneys, and an overall asymmetry that suggested a country house rather than a hotel. The interior
you do all that, whatever that is. That's really strange.
Ceilings rose 12 and 15 feet. Oak wainscoting and leaded art glass lined the public rooms. 93 fireplaces served the guest chambers. The Landscape Committee, chaired by Ezra McCagg of Chicago's Lincoln Park Commission, engaged William Shaler Cleveland, second only to Frederick Law Olmsted among American landscape architects, to plan the grounds beneath the island's ancient live oaks, their branches heavy with Spanish moss.
Ground was broken in mid-August of 1886. On the 21st of January, 1888, the executive committee arrived by steamer, and the Jekyll Island Club opened its doors for its first season. During those early seasons, hunting was the stated purpose. The club employed a full-time gamekeeper who kept the island stocked with pheasant, turkey, quail, and white-tailed deer. Members rode out on horseback each morning in hunting parties, and every man was required to report the day's kill and surrender it to the club kitchen, where it reappeared that evening on the dining table, dressed and served by a staff of waiters drawn almost entirely from the local black population of Brunswick and the surrounding sea islands. But hunting was also, from the beginning, a convenient fiction. The island's value was not the game, it was the company. Nowhere else in the country could a railroad president sit at dinner with the banker who had reorganized his competitor, the insurance executive who underwrote his rolling stock, and the publisher who could, with a single editorial, make or ruin his reputation, all in a single dining room with no reporter within 7 miles. The club imposed a strict cap of 100 members and enforced it for the entirety of its operational life. Admission was by invitation only, based on demonstrated wealth and social position, and the invitation carried an expectation that was never written down but universally understood. A member of the Jekyll Island Club did not seek publicity, did not discuss the club's affairs with the press, and did not arrive without the financial standing to justify the company. The annual season ran from January through April, when the mild Georgia coast offered a reprieve from the winter storms of New York, Boston, and Chicago. Members arrived by private yacht, competing informally over whose vessel was the most impressive, and the evening centered on a formal dinner in the clubhouse dining room, white-jacketed waiters attending tables of men in evening dress and women in imported gowns. The club was, in this respect, unlike the Union Club or the Metropolitan Club or the Chicago Club, all of which excluded families. Jekyll Island welcomed wives, children, and guests, and the effect was to make the island feel less like a gentleman's retreat and more like a private country, governed by its own customs, staffed by its own servants, and answerable to no authority beyond its own membership rolls. The wealth concentrated on the island was without precedent in American private life. Morgan's banking syndicate had organized United States Steel in 1901 at a capitalization of $1.4 billion, the largest corporate consolidation in history. Vanderbilt's inheritance from the New York Central Railroad alone exceeded $200 million. Pulitzer's New York World had reached a daily circulation of 600,000 copies, the largest of any newspaper in the country, generating annual profits estimated at $1 million. Marshall Field's retail and wholesale operations on State Street in Chicago recorded $68 million in annual sales by 1906, and his estate at death was valued at approximately $125 million. Hill's Great Northern Railway ran more than 5,000 miles of track from the Great Lakes to Puget Sound, built without a single dollar of federal subsidy, the only transcontinental railroad in the country that could make that claim. Henry Hyde's Equitable Life Assurance Society held assets exceeding $400 million, making it one of the largest financial institutions in the world. A frequently cited estimate drawn from contemporary press accounts held that the combined wealth of the Jekyll Island Club's members represented approximately 1/6 of the world's total monetary wealth at the club's peak. The figure may have been an exaggeration. It was not a large one. The club was not designed as a monument to leisure. It was designed as an environment in which the men who controlled the largest concentrations of American capital could conduct their affairs without observation. The inaccessibility was not an accident of geography. It was the point. The salt marshes and tidal creeks that separated the island from the mainland served the same function as the 100-member cap and the invitation-only admission. They kept the word down. And for 6 decades, they succeeded. The Jekyll Island Club would never issue a press release, never host a journalist, and never publish a record of the conversations held in its dining room or on its verandas. What happened on the island stayed on the island, not as a matter of policy, but as a matter of architecture. Privacy was built into the landscape itself. Within 24 years of the club's founding, the clubhouse that opened for duck hunting and formal dinners would host the drafting of a new financial order in secret by men who understood that the public would reject the plan if it knew whose hands had written it. The island had been preparing for that moment since the day Finney sold the first share. But the clubhouse was only the beginning. Within a decade of its opening, the members would begin building private estates along the island's interior roads, and each cottage would declare, in brick and marble and imported tile, exactly how much of America its owner controlled. The first cottages appeared in the early 1890s. Modest wooden structures set back among the wide oaks, built by members who found the clubhouse rooms sufficient for sleeping, but insufficient for the kind of private entertaining that their business required. Within a decade, modesty had been abandoned. The cottages that rose along the interior shell roads of Jekyll Island between 1890 and 1928 were mansions by any measure, 18 of them more. They represented a combined investment in architecture and decoration that dwarfed the cost of the island itself. They were not summer homes. They were declarations of position, each one furnished with the specific intention of demonstrating that its owner occupied a particular rank in the hierarchy of American wealth.
Their judges actually
for roughly 3 months of the year before being shuttered, staffed by a skeleton crew, and left to the heat and the insects of a Georgia summer. Hollybourne Cottage, built in 1890 for club member Charles Stewart Maurice, was among the earliest. Its design, an eclectic Tudor style, then fashionable for country estates. Sans Souci, completed in 1896, was more unusual. John Pierpont Morgan and the 5 other club members commissioned a 3-story apartment building containing 6 private suites, each with its own parlor, bedroom, bath. And the name itself, French for without care, captured the ethos of the island better than any architect's drawing. Some historians consider Sans Souci one of the first condominium structures in the United States. Cherokee Cottage, built in 1904 in the Italian Renaissance style by Edward Gould for his
W.
Shradi family, faced
Union County.
with engaged columns framing its 3 doorways. The Goodyear Cottage, finished in
And I can just add stuff to each county, and then I can call. I can add different places to call.
First electric elevators installed in the neighboring Mistletoe Cottage.
Offices in the county and it's connected to the
But
county.
the 2 estates that defined the island's character most completely belong to the 2
Fell in
families
each county,
who
there's
represented
75
the
counties.
farthest beyond the Georgia coast. The Rockefeller presence on Jekyll Island was established not by John Davison Rockefeller, the founder of Standard Oil, but by his younger brother William. William Rockefeller was the quieter partner in the family enterprise, the one who managed Standard Oil's financial operations through his directorship at National City Bank, the largest bank in the United States and the Rockefeller family's primary instrument on Wall Street. The cottage William occupied on Jekyll Island was called Indian Mound, named for the ancient shell midden of the Guava people on whose remains it stood. The house had been built in 1892 by Gordon McKay, a Massachusetts industrialist who had made his fortune manufacturing machines for sewing shoes during the Civil War.
Announcing the FedEx sale at Mattress Warehouse. Let's say it's repairs of all kinds.
We're more than a mattress store. We're Mattress Warehouse.
Want $1,000 weight loss medication for $50? It all starts with Rose Free Insurance Check. Just plug in your insurance card to see if you're covered. Then